Don was probably one of my heroes growing up, for sure.
Man, there's not enough adjectives to describe how great he was.
A energetic, fun-loving guy.
Don was the one that took me out and took me in my first car race, and he was my big brother, but in some ways he could have been my dad.
Everybody that my brother ever met loved him. Couldn't ask for a better brother.
Build a reputation. I think that's one of the things he left us, is his reputation, is how you do things. You don't cut corners, you don't cheat the customer. Leave it to there, you know.
That was a very tragic event for our family. You know, he was 34, I was 30. Rich was 28. Bobby was 23. Tony was still in high school. It's like, but that was a big blow to my father, my mother, you know, the whole family. And then now he got this business that, you know, financed. It's like my brothers and I got together and I said, you know what, we could go in a corner and cry and say, well, can't do it, let's, you know, throw the towel in, or we can just work as hard as we possibly can work, and I think we can overcome this thing.
Don had passed away, and it was really a challenging time for them, and yet I never saw them frazzled or feeling anything other than confident.
If it wasn't for my father and his work ethic and his teachings, I probably wouldn't be here right now, and neither would the business.
From my memories of my grandpa, you show up early for everything, and you better give it everything you had. That was the quality that he really instilled in all of his sons.
My dad was a very innovative person, very driven, and for not being born here, he learned quite a bit. Self-taught man.
Maybe work didn't come first, but it was certainly number 3 behind faith and family.
When you look at successful family businesses, they're a miracle. You know, all the brothers and all the cousins, everybody adds something to the equation.
Yeah, I would say everybody's kind of developing expertise in a certain area. So like, if it deals with this, you're kind of the go-to person. And that's always the thing that when people come here, they notice that's different.
There's always an opportunity out there for you. There's a place for everybody in the company.
There's a lot of DiGeronimos, but we sort it out with ourselves. And
we come from all spectrums of the personality trait, of the decision-making realm, and we literally, the most gratifying thing is to come into a room and have a meeting with my brothers and cousins. And we literally start on opposite ends of the issue, and we can get to that consensus despite being from completely different perspectives.
I have a lot of great friends in the industry, but there's nobody like family that you know has your back when you need it.
When you lose 2 brothers like I have,
you know, untimely early death.
We miss him.
Yeah, Uncle Rich was the best. I mean, you never knew what you were going to get out of him, because one day you could get the most kind, the most, give you the best advice you've ever heard, and one day you could get your ass ripped.
He was just a warm, very giving, a very fun-loving guy.
He was awesome. The biggest personality you could ever meet, and treated everybody with respect.
Rich was always the jovial one, and always had a good word to say and something funny to talk about.
I think we all know that we're not going to be here forever, so maintain your reputation and look at life and how you can make not only the company better, but society better. I really believe that. I really think you can touch people in our business and leave it better than you found it.
Their ability to kind of carry the torch from one level of generation to the next level of generation has been really amazing. But when you take the next level on top of that, the integration of family members at so many different levels of the organization, it's impressive.
You know, they say a lot of the second generations fail. They some number like 50%, but in my opinion, half of those that fail are because of the first generation not letting them do what they're supposed to do or want to do.
We don't have any second generation to third generation negative overlap issues at all. Never have. My dad is a big reason why everybody is together, you know, and we didn't have a lot of issues. There's no gray with my dad. It's either right or it's wrong. It's either fair or not fair.
I mean, growing up now, Vic Sr.'s 13 years older than me, and Vic Jr.'s 13 years younger than me. So I've had the bookends of both of their relationships, and a blessing it's been to me. My interaction with Vic, if you could fill your one hand with good friends in your lifetime, then you've accomplished a great deal. And he's one of my put on my hand.
My first memory of the company would probably be my dad, driving around with him in the car from job site to job site, watching him talk on the radio. And my dad always had a funny way of talking on the radio. So we always would joke around about, Dad, why do you do that?
My brother-in-law was running the job, Bobby. They loaded my truck, and I took very good care of my truck. And all of a sudden, they loaded it with all this rebar, and it was like all over the truck. And I'm sitting there stunned, and he walks up to me and he says, "Welcome to the NBA."
When we were young, my dad would never, people say, "Oh, what do you do?" He'd say, "Oh, I work for an excavating company." He was very humble, and he would never promote himself as this big shot. Like that kind of stuff always stuck to me.
I look back at those days, and I wish I could appreciate then what I know now about how much I learned from my dad, and how much that's translated into the success of our business. Because he didn't have a script for how you treat people. It was just ingrained in him. It's who he is. It's translated into the culture of not just his sons, but for our whole business. And it's a huge part of who we are today, and why we're successful, why we deliver what we say we do, because of the values that my dad and my uncles have taught us.
Once a week, I still get in a situation where I just think about what my dad would do.
It was like a big family. My uncle got me the job, and that was one of the best things he ever did for me. I started early enough to have the privilege of meeting the founder of the company, Don DiGeronimo. He was like the Lone Ranger. It was a smaller scale, but he did it all.
It just happened, you know, it was fun and kept working and doing bigger projects. And
I guess there's all steps along the way of the ladder, residential house basements to commercial work, and then on to public work.
Between development, between excavation, between equipment division, and go on and on. It's amazing what they've done, and I know this leadership generation will take it to the next level. What that is, I'm not certain, but to earth and moon has always been the model, so it's pretty interesting to see where they go next.
They are the cornerstone. They are the benchmark. They're the family that we all look to emulate.
If my cousins and I continue to just do what our dads did, we'll be fine. Because everything we do, they started.